Hey family, how you doing? Pastor George here. We have another exciting How To Tuesday, and I got my buddy with me today. I got Jerome. Jerome, say hi.
Hello, family of faith. How you doing today?
Good. So hey, as you know, in How To Tuesdays, we're showing you how to live your life by design, not by default. We want to show you all the ways of being successful, and we walk through them with you every week. Now, by the way, I'm just letting you know up front. So we're doing a series, an entire series, a three-part series, and now I guess we're extending a little bit on kids and investing and money in these areas. And also, before we just completely in that, I also want to just tell you some things that we can do, entrepreneurship, and also things to do with kids and education. So Jerome, I'm going to ask you a question, but first, I don't mean to bleed on you a little bit, but I got to tell you what happened. So I was teaching an entire series, also family, on everybody. I've been teaching a series on kids and investing. And one of the things I said is, I don't buy my kids Christmas presents, that I buy them stock in the companies and everything. So we got so many emails, people going, your kids don't get anything. When I do it at church, I have the mother's board, everybody trying to fight me in the parking lot, all these different things. So one of the things that I've done is I want to explain to everybody, my kids do receive Christmas presents from my wife, their mother, and they receive them from their mother-in-law and things like this. It's more educational things that we're trying to teach them. So Jerome, also, I want him to do a little bit of introduction, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about Jerome, then I'm going to ask him a question about some different areas we want to do in this area. So first of all, Jerome is an educator. He can tell us about the school. He also is an investor, but he teaches entrepreneurship to kids. So I want you to tell a little bit about yourself, and then I want you to answer a question about what the gap is with kids and learning and how to close it. So first, just a little bit about yourself, Jerome.
Of course, and again, George has already stated, my name is Jerome Wiley. I'm a sixth grade educator. My background is actually in sports and business prior to education. And in order to reduce the achievement gap, my personal opinion is kids have to understand why they're in class. And what I do with my kids is have them understand business and how they already play a role in it. They understand the consumer side. I want them to understand the producer side.
Right. So everybody also, we do how to, because remember there's something called producers and there's something called consumers. Consumer is you consume everything that you have, and then you want to be a producer. So Jerome, again, you guys, I want you guys to learn from this, but I'm learning so much. So type in the chat things we've already learned. We already learned about being a producer and also being a consumer, is that we want to teach our kids at all ages to start to be there. And you start sixth grade teacher in this area, but I want you to understand these principles that we're about to go through are ones for all ages. So I want to make sure that we're putting them in there. So I remember you always teach entrepreneurship to kids. So one of the things is, if you remember, there's a story where my kids were playing this game. I'm gonna start cussing, so just put your hands over your ears. But it's okay. For your kids, there's this game. It's called Roblox, and you guys have heard these games called Fortnite and these different things. So now I want your parents and grandparents, or if you're an uncle or aunt or auntie or anything, to really listen about what we're about to say right now. And also we want you to call about 5 people. I'm sorry, not call. I want you guys to send and attach 5 people, because we want you to also have other people watch this. It's really important, I think, right now. My kids play this game called Roblox. And now this is a true story. My son walked up to me and asked me to buy him some Robux. That's some money on that. And my response to him was, let me get this straight. You want me to take real money and buy something fake? And I grabbed my chest like Fred Sanford. You guys know who Fred Sanford is? I'm sorry, there was a show called Sanford some long time ago. And I grabbed my chest the same way I do when they ask to buy drinks at restaurants. You understand? I don't buy sodas or different things. I take that money, I put it in a mutual fund. So when kids want to play Robux, so what I did is I eventually sat down with my son and I said, let's look up the stock of the company. And we ended up buying the company that does that. And then he ran upstairs, and I had one of my best moments as a father. And he said, Dad, he told his twin brother, he said, we own the company. We own Roblox. And then he goes, I'm going to tell all my friends at school. I said, yeah, you tell them and come talk to Daddy about investing. But now, what do you think about kids? And because remember we talked about kids and they're playing all these video games and they're doing this. How do we help them? How do we help kids not just play the games, but then we have them learn something? So how do we let the kids play the games, but then also we teach them something.
Well, the kids have to, first of all, understand the economic value of a game. And what I mean by that is Roblox. I asked my kids, well, what can you do with Roblox? One of my kids mentioned a game called Retail Tycoon. So,
Retail Tycoon.
Correct. And in Retail Tycoon, after they went over the game, it said basically you create your own business. You can decide if you want use sweat equity, which means you would be the cashier. You could pay for a cashier, or you can use automated systems. So these are things that kids will see in everyday life going to a store. And you have to decide the products you want to sell. Also, you have to monitor those products as they're being sold. So it's a very interactive game. It incorporates mathematics. It incorporates higher order thinking. So I even got a Roblox account, and I challenge my students as well, which they like that. So I agree with that. Something else, and I talk about
come back to that real quick. Just come back to that real quick.
Okay.
So everybody, do you see what we're doing? So he got a Roblox account, and then we engaged. Remember how we want to do the same type of thing. So I actually, after we had this conversation, I actually came in and opened up an account for my kids, and we said, okay, this is your store. I'm telling my kids, Gracie, this is your store, Alexander, and they can be on the same server, so multiple kids can have these. And then they said, and then they want to start doing it. Then I found another game on Roblox where my son had, where he had a restaurant and he was selling hamburgers and fries. And then this, I get so excited about this. So just please tell me you're excited. Just tell me you're excited. Is that he started doing hamburgers and fries, and they started doing pizza and other things. And then he found out I'm making more money just selling hamburgers and working the fries. And then he's not. So now he has someone else work the cash register. He's the one that delivers the burgers to him, because whenever they make one, somebody wants one. So now he's learning how people do it, how supply and demand, and they're learning that. And he likes the way, I think kids like the affirmation of us playing together. So they're not saying like, oh, whenever, you know how you go upstairs and they turn the laptop down, or they want to hide or say they're not doing those. I'm like, no, let's play that. And then in doing it. So first of all, the engagement is number one. Number two is they're learning. Can you tell me, let's go over again what we learned. They learned money. Then he said sweat equity. They either going to hire someone to run the cash register, or they're going to run it instead of everything else being free in that area. Go ahead.
Something else that I did with my class one day, we actually created our own business. Everything from product development to marketing to accounting. It was strawberry lemonade, because I used to work for Quaker Oats Gatorade.
Right.
So so basically we wrote all the process down. The kids invested their own money, and I said, whatever the profit is, you're going to share in this profit. But so what I did was, we did this business step by step. The very first day we sold, everything was set up. I told the kids, you didn't put in enough money, and we're going to sell out quickly. All right. Well, we had parents coming out of their cars. And, parents don't usually like doing that after school. They want to pick up their child and leave.
This is right to school. This is right to school. This is right to school. You're saying.
Yep.
Oh, wow. Okay. Got it.
So in 30 minutes, we sold out, and I brought all the kids together and said, I want you to take a look at all these people with hands and money in their hands. You may get more money, but you'll never get these dollars currently. They're gone forever.
Okay.
So then the next step I explained to them is, okay, do you guys want to have entrepreneurs? Do you want to have employees? They said, what's an employee? You're going to teach people your job, and you're going to give them a fee.
Right.
Can we get to make money?
Wrong. Can we stop right there? I
Yeah.
need to go back to the other part.
Okay.
Everybody, what we're teaching in business, what he's teaching them, is actually what we teach adults. So no matter what your age is, right here, you see where he said, you see the money, you can make money later, but you won't be able to make that money. Everybody, it's nearing the end of the year right now, and I can't get into it, but you guys understand, in April and May, when the stock market and everything was going down, and when real estate was going down in 2007 and 6, I said, everybody, you should be buying right now. And you should be doing that, because what happens is there's something called opportunity cost. If you buy something today and then look back 5 years later, you don't have the same opportunity 5 years from now that you have as far as investing. and doing things like, I wish I would have bought Apple 5 years ago. I wish I had done this then. So you always want to, gosh, Jerome, I'm gonna do my very best, but everybody knows and how to. I interrupt the person the entire time because I need you to understand it. Is that when you have opportunity costs, I'm gonna say it one more time with a bond, and then I will go back to what he is saying, and we'll bring it back to business. If you buy something, a bond is saying paying 5% interest because now they're not, then you don't have the opportunity to buy it again later. In business, you have to teach people how to do business because they don't have another opportunity with the person. They can make more money later, but also they can't get the referrals from those parents. Like I'm just picking Tuesday, because it's Tuesday, is when kids do go back to school and doing this, and we're praying for it, by the way, parents, can I have an amen? Is that when they do go back, when you say we're serving I'm saying Taco Tuesdays, or we're doing Tuesday with strawberry lemonade, then the parents kind of know what's coming. And then you can build an installment base and do memberships like you're seeing all these companies do and everything. But he's teaching these to kids at a young age. Pick it back up at, they said that they want to have an employee, and they said, what's an employee? Jerome.
So once the sale was over, I brought the students together and I introduced the concept of employee. The kids didn't know what it was. So I basically told them that you're going to teach other students your job and you'll give them a fee. And you'll also make more money than them. And I'm like, well, hold on a second. We get to watch people work and we get paid to do that. I said, yes, that's an entrepreneur.
Right.
So they decided that instead of cashing out, they said, let's do it. So they did that. So 2 weeks later, they actually watched as other people worked.
Stop. All right, everybody. There's two types of income. Active income. You know I'm talking to you right now. I ain't talking about no kids, right? You know I'm talking to you. All right, anyway, but I'm sorry. Let me act like I'm talking to kids. The active income, you have to work and you have to do it, and you have to clock in, you have to do it. And there's something called passive income. I'm gonna ask him what the difference is, but I'll let you know now. Passive is that you're harvesting something while other people are working, or you have an asset that does that. Hence real estate, or we'll see if we have time to get into those today as well. But you understand that's the process that they're going through. So do you guys understand what we're trying to do? We're trying to teach this to kids. Now, he's in sixth grade, but you understand that 18, 20, Jerome, I used to teach a seminar, you already know this, at Fayetteville Central called Money in the Mailbox. And there are people there 55 years old, 60 years old. So it doesn't matter the age. These principles, I want you to learn these, but I want to say one more thing to everybody, and then I'm gonna let him go. Is that there's something called generational wealth. Can everyone say generational wealth 3 times? Just say it 3 times. I know you're in your house by yourself, but say it. And then, hey, if there's other people, say it loud enough so everybody can hear it, and say, I'm building generational wealth. What you hear Jerome doing right now is he's building up your children and or your grandchildren or your nieces, nephews, or if you big mama, if you whatever you want. Okay. But they're helping you do that. So in understanding that. So I'm sorry, go back to entrepreneurship. I just that's what's happening.
So basically, opportunity costs, I want to kind of touch upon that because our last class meeting last week, they were talking about the PS5 and kids were all excited about it. So I said, okay, what's the cost of what's the first PS? How much, can someone tell me how much it costs? One kid said, Mr. Wiley, $300. Matter of fact, I have all of them. I said, okay. How much could I sell it for right now? He said, $40. I said, what have you guys learned? They looked at each other, that you guys are very good at losing money.
Right.
And that's fine. But what if you would have bought stock when the PS first came out? Could you have possibly taken that in each year, bought a new PS from your stock account? I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud. What do you guys think? They kind of looked at each other. So that's something else I'd like to incorporate too, because I'll take screenshots of CNBC. I'll put it on what's called a Google Classroom. And in between breaks, when my kids come back, there'll be like something on pet food. I think it was Americans spent $9 billion on pet food this year.
Gotcha.
So I asked them to read it. And are you guys aware of this? They're like, no. And how could you guys in this market, current environment, or once we come back, how can you guys make money? And they threw out great ideas. So.
Gotcha. So also, Jerome, there's a company called Chewy. It's a company that sells pet food online.
Yep.
And when everybody said they were staying home, remember when the country shut down by decree? And when the country shut down, one of the things that they said is that everybody people that were by themselves started getting pets, and they would go down the shoulder and there wouldn't be a pet down there. And the thing, and I said, you know what pets do every day? They do two things. They eat and they do number two. Guess what? I don't know how to make money on number two, but I know how to make money. And I have an A. So I said, so you're saying we want to look at those things. Now, this is everybody, and I think we're talking about kids and investing, but we're talking about just in general, generational. I'm switching this to generational wealth, but we're talking about with kids, but you understand that adults, we have to do this exact same thing but I'm going to tell you some adults and with kids. Kids are better investors than you because they don't have fear. See, if you go to your refrigerator right now and you open it, everything in your refrigerator you paid for. If a kid opens a refrigerator and if they don't see something they like, they ask you for it. You want to hear something funny? Jerome, my kids said this the other day. I said, hey, what do you want? I was making a salad and everything, and then we're eating a little grilled chicken and all this stuff, and because I'm the lunch captain. And my son comes on, and my niece is there, and he goes, what do you want for lunch? I was there. He goes, I want some Chick-fil-A chicken nuggets, like this is Uber Eats or something. You see, because they can ask for it and then it appears. So kids can see trends before we do, and that technology. Then Jerome, when you just said about that, how the PS2 is a depreciating asset. Can everybody hold up three fingers? There's only three things you can do when you make money. The first is you can spend the money. The second is you can lend the money to somebody. That means put it into a bank that's paying 0.01% interest. And the third is you can own something. How much of your money, and then your kids, you want to teach them, and this was on the previous episodes, how much your kids' money is going to, first, you want to be able to share. You want to be able to give. You want to teach them to give. Tithers give. Then the second thing you want to do is invest. A third thing to do is spend the money. Then I'm going to ask you a question about a depreciating asset. Because the challenge is, if you look at now, how much of our money is going to spending on depreciating assets? A car is a depreciating asset. Those clothes, when people buy very expensive clothes, it's a depreciating asset. And then when you buy video games, like you just said, it's a depreciating asset. Then they want to spend money on things that are growing as well. You did great with Sony, but I've been on a whole mission about Nike, that before we buy the Nike shoes, we have to own the Nike stock. When people pay $250 for shoes, they should buy one share of stock and then buy $125. And that's something to do for Christmas. As you guys know, Christmas is coming and we're very close to that. So, but you understand, we want to start having some balance in there, in that area. So what do you think about having balance and then also showing them, I guess you're also showing how to not invest in depreciating assets, Jerome?
Correct. So like I told them, I don't have a problem with you playing games, but you need to incorporate other things in your life. Since these are children's foundational years, I mean, you need to be able to do the reading, writing, arithmetic, but you also have to be able to think and right. Think from an analytical standpoint. Like I went. Okay. So in our class, I was teaching our kids how to think from an analytical perspective. We had to be able to analyze graphs. So I went to Nike, this stock quotes. So, and what I did is I showed them how to look from a 5-day perspective, a month, 5 years, lifetime. And so they were looking, so, well, Mr. Wiley, does this mean the price goes up and down? I said, yes. And also, if you guys understand history, I said, 2008, you guys were probably born then. I said, something major happened. I said, you notice, I can show you all kinds of stocks and a lot of them crashed. I said, that was when we had a mortgage meltdown. There's history within stocks, there's math within stocks. So I try to incorporate everything within my class.
Right. You guys, I'm sorry, I'm so excited. I was just listening to that. But you understand how so stocks are go up and down. So I just wanted to say some things that would just kind of help in this area. So one of the things is that, so you guys know stocks go up and down. So we want to have an investment plan for our kids. So let's look at Christmas. You can, and then we're just using the stocks. And by the way, I want to do a quick disclaimer. We're not giving buy and sell recommendations. We're not saying to buy Gatorade, buy Nike, buy these companies. If you do want to have those questions regarding that, then send us an email. We can give you more information about how you would get started and how you do that. and I also give some more information at the end. But I just want to make sure that we're doing these. Do you see how, like we say, if we're doing Nike, for example, and we say we're going to buy this stock and it's for Christmas, then around their birthday, we want to keep doing it and being consistent, because as your kids start to see I'm using the word volatility, stocks go up and down. That's actually how you become wealthy. How you build wealth is you put in monthly and you buy, and then that way you're getting on the dips, because there's this old adage on Wall Street: buy low, sell high, just like you do with everything else. So that's one of the things of them learning how to invest and do that. And that's really good to teach them that in entrepreneurship. So, hey, can I come back to entrepreneurship and also how you're teaching this? What are some other things you do with the kids to kind of so that they learn, like you showed them how they have a consumer, a producer, you have them own the shops. Do you just check back in with them? Because like after you own one, let's say grocery store, convenience store, then can you show them how to buy other ones, or you show them how to expand? How are some other ways of showing them kind of a little bit about entrepreneurship?
Well, in my classroom, even though it's a sixth grade class, I have economics posters. These are generally for 11th, 12th grade students. But what I do is I simplify concepts. And weekly, I always ask kids who can tell.
Go ahead.
In my classroom, I have posters that have economics concepts like opportunity cost, depression, recession. So what I do is each week I ask my students, someone tell me what is this concept, just to check for their understanding, to make sure they understand it. I also have my kids bring in concepts and ideas so we can discuss it. When I bought my Netflix stock, I bought it first in 2009. I asked my kids a question. I said, how many of you guys have cable? Maybe 20% of my kids raised their hand. How many of you guys have Netflix? About 70% of my class raised their hand. Now, I've never had Netflix in my life, but I told them I own Netflix. So just because you don't have to participate on the consumer side, you can participate on the investor side, and that's okay.
Right.
The goal is to let your money work for you. Spend and enjoy some, but also have your money work for you.
Right. And you guys, what he's saying is that, see how he did that poll real quick? And you see that where Oprah always says that, tell that story where she used to watch people walk around and say, what kind of shoes are those? And they said Nike. And so let's start looking at that. Then the same thing he's saying right now. So do you see how we're saying how everyone's on Netflix, and then also everyone during this pandemic, there is absolutely positively right now in the chat. Let us know if you don't. Like, who here has Netflix? When Netflix released their earnings and said how they went up after June, I said, wait, what? I thought they couldn't go up any higher because I didn't know anybody who didn't have Netflix. I think it went up from the people who had it in their mama's name. You know, you can get 5 accounts. They went and got a name. They said, you know what? I'm tired of getting kicked off. I got to go ahead and get in my own name because I got to get my own playlist going. So I mean, if you look at that, I just see how that has grown. But I think it's still back to the mindset of what you said, Jerome. It's of moving into being a producer instead of a consumer. And you guys, these are just things I want to make sure that you're understanding. So the two takeaways I have right now, then we're going to list them because in a moment we're going to give out a prize, okay? And doing this because our time is doing this. First is this. Do you see how he's looking at them ahead? Remember I said they're 5th and 6th grade. He's looking at 11. He's also looking at, he's giving posters out or information that's for the 11th grade, because I actually don't believe in any of that. My kids, I teach their reading level on the level where they just keep progressing. My daughter didn't go to kindergarten. She went from pre-K, TK, right to 1st grade because she was reading the same books as her older brothers. Because when I went to Costco, I'm not buying no separate books for nobody. I'm like, you read them. And guess what? We're just gonna start reading stuff in college next, because it's like, look, let's just learn. So you see how he's ahead, be ahead of everything. And then also set high expectations. One of the worst things you can do for a child is set low expectations and they achieve them. Set them high. And I think that's great how you're doing that and teaching them in the area of business. And then you were talking about, I want to make sure though that you got those 2 takeaways. I'm sorry, go ahead, Jerome. Go ahead, George. You gonna say something? No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh, okay. But also what I try to instill in my students is that each one of them is their own corporation. And
corporation. Go ahead.
And what that basically means is you have revenue, be it you get money from doing chores, money for birthdays, whatever. You need to decide where that money is going to go. I ask my kids, is your corporation bankrupt? Is your corporation at even? Or is your corporation thriving? Some of the kids put their heads down. I'm like, look, you're young. It's not too late. These are new concepts, but you have an opportunity. I've had kids that ask me, they want to invest in stocks. I've had former students who've come back. They're in high school and they're actually in real estate. One of my students, he just graduated from USC and a degree in mathematics. So, right, he came back and said, Mr. Wiley, because one thing kids always ask me, Mr. Wiley, are you still talking about investing and money? I said, is it obsolete?
Right.
So yes, I'm going to, because no one else is. So I take it upon myself that, again, reading, writing, and arithmetic is important, but I think money and investing, it helps you from a generational standpoint, it helps you from an individual standpoint. And the more that we can instill in our children, we can build up our communities from within.
Gosh, that's a whole, I just want to let you know, building up the community from within. We want to talk about that, but that's almost a whole entire show. But what you just said about how you're working with the kids, reading, writing, arithmetic, it's good to have that. But what I like is the practical sense. So we're showing them how to do things together. And I want to say this one more time. We're talking about kids to a degree, but this needs to be a family conversation. I want to say this and almost close with it. There's a game, it's called Monopoly. You ought to pull out a Monopoly board. And we're going to do a whole session on this, on a Monopoly board, and just set it down and then say, like, why are there people that just do very well at that? As you know, Jerome, nobody wants to play that with me because I will win. I will always win. You'd be someone that probably would give me a run, but we just kind of not win. We just kind of win together. You already know we buy something every time we land. We don't invest in hotels. Maybe you do, but I don't invest. I only buy houses. There's only so many houses. And then I just do that. But then how do we get on the board? How does a family, I'm going to ask you, how does a family get on the board? But what you do is first of all, you have to have knowledge and learn. So you have to do that. And you have to learn how to manage the money. Because everyone's saying, well, if our kids, we're just going to give it to them, we're going to do this, or we're going to expect someone else to do it. Is that you actually have to start teaching them that. So, and walking through that. Now I'm looking at our curriculum. What we're going to do here here on this show and also at Faithful Central is actually starting to teach these same techniques and everything that you're teaching. One more thing is our G1 ministry, which is God First, our middle school. And also, I believe also in our high school, but our middle school has an entrepreneurship program. We had the kids come in and they had a business and they had to invest. And this is the thing, the parents couldn't help because parents were trying to help and do different things and the kids had it. And then one Sunday we brought everybody up and we gave everybody I'm going to use you guys. I'm going to say infomercial. We let them have 20 seconds to talk about their business. And it was beautiful to see how many kids came down there with their suits on, how many did there. And then I was one of the judges. And I'm letting you know right now, I couldn't decide. So I said, look, there's 3 of you guys that we had first prize. It was like $500. Like we just gave them money, to do it. So you guys know what one of the ones was that we had to decide was they were taking, T-shirts like from a family reunion or a T-shirt that you like or from an event and everything. They took that and changed it into and made it a bag. So when you go to grocery stores, they charge you for 5 cents for a bag and all that. You would take the T-shirts and they were converting them into bags you could use at the store. So I gave them 2 of my ones for my family reunions, and I showed it to my people on family reunions. They're like, how do we get one? And then that's how they learned that in entrepreneurship. So, it's almost like running Shark Tank for them and doing that. So what is something that you would tell parents and also people about what you want to do in educating your children in the area of finances and also doing just in finances and also just doing well?
Well, I think the parents need to give their children responsibilities. Everything starts at home, and maybe put some sort of monetary reward on that, be it doing laundry. Also, there's a TV show on PBS. It's called Biz Kids.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
And I actually like to watch it. So I in my Google Classroom, I put links once a week from a show on Biz Kids. So it simplifies business concepts, investing concepts. They do it in a humorous way. Sometimes they're serious, but it's a humorous way. Kids like it. So, and then they'll come back and ask me questions. I think something else is important. We have to actually talk to our kids and listen to our kids and see what their opinions are and what do they understand about business, and then reinforce that with our own knowledge.
Right. So that's so good. Hey, in a moment, we're going to give out a prize. So, but I just want to say this though before we do, is this, you're absolutely right. First of all, I was so humbled. Yes. I watched Biz Kids. We watched that on Saturday. So last Saturday we're sitting there and my kids, we were watching it. And this person comes up, Jerome, I had to stand up again. And they said, hey, when you make money, there's only certain things you can do with it. You can spend it, you can put it in the bank, or you can own something like this. And it was right. And I was like this, oh my God, it's on page 18 of my book. So guys, Biz Kids is a really good show to watch at any age, but I like how they use humor and how they have the people that can, and also one last thing, it's taught by kids. So it's really, really informative. So let's do that. Now, let's develop a plan, and then we're going to give out a prize. Okay. So right now, let's look down, and Jerome, I have to say, because everyone's tech savvy now, so I can't say write this down. But just based on what we talked about today, let's write down some things that would be a good plan to have. So first of all, we want to have a kitchen table conversation where you sit down with your kids and you start to talk to them about finances. And remember, we talked to them earlier. You already talked about in the previous shows about let's talk to them about you having what the family budget is, and you remember how you communicate with them. So if you remember, you never tell people we don't have the money for that. My kids can ask me for anything. Hey, I want to buy a yacht. I say, son, that is not how we allocate our resources. Okay, Daddy, can I have a 7-Up soda at a restaurant? Tell them, son, we've come here to eat, not to drink. So I need to do it. First of all, everybody, I'm hardcore. I know everybody's in between. I want you guys to, it's hard to go from that all the way over here to Pastor Thompson, acting crazy without, Pastor Thompson and you not being marriage counseling for some of the things that I do. But let's just look at how we can balance them. Then a lot of things are done with entrepreneurship that Jerome said. We want to make sure that we're also doing those as well. And the way he was teaching them about, like that, also what he said about that chart about being a producer and a consumer, is begin to talk to your kids about that. And a lot of parents, grandparents, or family members also, this is another thing that I think that I've learned from our previous shows. Find also other relatives and family members that are good in the area of finances, and have your kids be around them to see how they work in entrepreneurship, and bring your kids to work not now, when you can legally do that. You cannot do that. I'm sorry, we're in California. In California, you can't bring nobody nowhere. So, Jerome, I take my kids to Costco and I would show them how to shop by unit price, and I explain how much this costs and how we do this, and then how many servings we have, because you guys remember that show, Everybody Hates Chris? They would show that. They would say, he dropped 28 cents worth of Cocoa Puffs on the ground, all that stuff. So we're going to make sure we're showing you how to do that. All right. So everybody, we're going to make some concluding remarks, but right now, hey, we want to give out a prize. So right now in the chat, if you could pick a number between 1 and 100. And by the way, Jerome gave me a number and I have it. So anyway, pick a number between 1 and 100, and then we're going to give you a prize. Okay. All right. So Jerome, any concluding remarks you'd like to make regarding but you've taught so much in the area of teaching people about entrepreneurship, business, and with kids. Anything else you'd like to say?
Like to kind of piggyback on what you said about finding someone who is an entrepreneur, who has some sort of knowledge. Like in my class, in my classroom, what we do is we find.
Go ahead.
I always ask students which parents might be entrepreneurs. And the reason why I do this is I can make a community connection. Kids know each other, they've grown up with each other. And I have parents who are entrepreneurs come in, like one gentleman owned a trucking company. Another person restored cars. Took a car, restored it, sold it for $50,000. So, right. So, right. Nice margins. So my thing is just find people who you might have in your life that you can expose your children to. I think it's very important. Right.
No, that's really good. Because I remember one time when you called me and told me I was person of the day or week when you were doing that, and I came and talked to your class, and I'm always willing and able to do that. I'm sorry, when it's legal. When it's legal, I'll do that. But also, everyone, I just want to say this in parting. First of all, I want to thank our winner for the that won. Just so you know, the prize that we're giving out is, bam, The Wealth Cycle. It's a book that shows you how to build wealth, how to do it generational, show you how to budget, how to get out of debt. Everybody's at different levels, shows you how to get to the next level, and about investing and business, walks through everything for you. So anyway, be blessed by this book. Also, if you just like to get the book as well, you can go to Amazon.com. Book's $20, and you'll be blessed. So I want to thank our winner for that, and you will send an email to us, and then we will have it for you. Okay. All right. So now I do want to say this, Jerome. I have taken all I can take. I can't take any more. Do you see all the stuff that we're teaching? So we're going to be having something in 2021 called the Wealth Academy. We're going to be teaching kids from all the comments we've gotten from all the things that we were doing as far as kids and investing. But I want to make this, I got to say this, and can you say generational wealth and just type it in the chat too as well, is that also it's something also for your whole family needs to do all these same things. There are people that are 30, that are even older, that don't know a lot of the business principles that we teach kids. And we also have something called Champions in Business, and we have a lot of things that are coming forward next year. So just make sure you stay involved in those areas. And Jerome, I want to thank you for what you've done also, but I'd like to invite you back again for us to talk about some areas that you're doing in the area of business for adults, and just different, also just in the areas of business and in some other areas. Okay, so I want to thank you. Everybody, let's give Jerome a hand, and let's close in prayer, and then I look forward to seeing you at our next episode. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you. We thank you for this day. Lord, we thank you for blessing us with opportunities, Lord. Lord, I pray as you open doors for us that we walk through them, Lord. Close any door that is not for us, Lord. As you brought us all the way from January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, and now we're here in December, and you blessed us. Let's not take anything for granted. Let us continue to finish this year strong, Lord, and let's grow to be the people you'd have us to be, loving people, caring people, and sharing people. Lord, we say this prayer in the name of Jesus, and all the blessed people of God said, amen.
Amen.
You guys, we look so forward to seeing you at the next episode. All right, bye.